do we already have Yanna-Torry somewhere around?
Yes, I am here.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Long time no see.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. So
Okay.
it was like,
Last year,
yeah,
1 year ago, you were here in the Masters of Email Marketing. It was our second event. What has changed so far in the email deliverability
well,
scene?
Oh, I think something actually very exciting for all of us is that I think more people are realizing that deliverability is a thing.
Really?
Last year, yeah, taking a lot of customers used to come to me when they had problems and it was too late, and they're like, we didn't know this existed. And lately, a lot more people are coming up saying, we know there's a problem, we don't know what to do, but we know that there's something that exists that's creating these problems. Can you help? So hopefully all the changes from the spam filters are making people aware that email is more than just sending emails and praying that people are going to receive them. But now we know that we can do something about it. So that's great.
We talked about personalization a lot during the last
Yeah.
two presentations. Are you going to touch something about the topic personalization also in regards deliverability?
I will be talking about how people can monitor their reputation. A lot of companies tend to figure out that there's an issue instead of making sure that everything's okay. They're not really sure if things are okay. Is it based on marketing? Is it more based on, things that are scary like IT stuff? And if people are doing a good job, or if I'm doing a good job with my customers, it is maintaining the reputation, not only about fixing problems. Like a lawyer, it's nice to have one on the side, but it's nice not to ever have to use him. Right? um,
but
so
you mentioned that more and more clients are thinking about that. But what I want to ask, are they thinking about uh, more that how they can achieve this using their ESP, or they are thinking about also about how their domain reputation is going, etc., etc. What will actually increasing or decreasing if you're using some ESP?
yes, so they're being aware. So a lot of customers that are aware of deliverability tend to have their own infrastructure back in the day, like a couple of months ago or a year. And customers who are using ESPs, whenever things go bad, they love to complain that it's the ESP, right? And we all know that, especially like Smaley, you guys have the expertise, you have the people working all day making sure that everything's okay. And that there's so much you can do in order to help somebody else's reputation. Like if I have bad credit, and I go to the bank with my mom to buy a house, they might give it to me, but not necessarily, right? If I'm not a good person that pays their bills on time, it's not going to be enough that I bring my mom who does pay her bills on time. So the same thing with the ESPs. So customers are becoming more aware that it's on them, and moving around from one ESP to the other doesn't seem to help, or it helps for a couple of months and then it goes back down again. And they realize that there's something they need to change. And the hardest part is never, removing bad contacts or reducing the number of emails we send out. The problem is always coming from the business side, right? Send more, market more, push more, bring more money. And we forget that when we wake up in the morning and we get our, we open our phones and we see 10,000 new emails, we get really annoyed. And we know we gave permission to these people to send us emails. But sometimes if I bought a car yesterday or I bought shoes yesterday, I'm not going to buy new shoes today. And the marketing team seems to want to create better emails, more strategic. We were talking about personalization. It's a lot more than saying, hey, Yanna-Torry, right? We want to cater to what the person needs at the right moment, and do it correctly without being annoying. But business is like, yeah, but what if one more email will bring more money? What if we do this is going to help more? And at the end of the day, we're not only annoying the humans who are receiving our emails and who might have liked our business and now they're just annoyed, but we're also competing with spam filters. Spam filters don't want to save every single email that every company on the planet, has ever sent forever. We're all okay with social media deciding who's going to see what I post. But when it comes to email, we get very angry. Like, I have a relationship with my subscriber. I should send whatever I want, whenever I want. And that's not the case. And as spam filters are getting smarter and better, and don't, if we approach even the tricks, to get into the inbox, the more tricks we use, the more we're teaching the spam filters what to detect and what to stop from arriving in the inbox. So it's getting smarter and smarter, and personalization is definitely going to help because humans are going to be happy and the spam filters are going to notice this and they're going to accept more emails in the inbox. If we're just, but a lot of times, a lot of times when I talk to customers, the biggest problem is not getting the marketing team or the IT team on board, is getting the business or the managers approve sending less emails or better targeted emails, or removing certain people from the list or resegmenting them on the side. But hopefully the business is going to catch up and they're going to realize that it's not worth it to send as many emails as possible if we start losing deliverability and then we don't know who is receiving and who is not receiving emails anymore.
All right. So as a reminder, Yanna-Torry will take the stage in a few seconds, but ask questions. This is now the time to get free advice about deliverability, how to do a good job.
I will ask also
Not spam.
a couple of questions in the end.
Yeah.
If anyone didn't ask also all of those before.
So are there compromising questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We will later put all the presentations to our YouTube, so you can rewatch it if you didn't get the chance right now. But I think now it's the right time to take the most of it. So Yanna-Torry, it's you now.
It's my turn. Okay. So it's going to be very, very simple deliverability crash course on how to monitor it. There's a lot of tools out there that can be very expensive, and there's a lot of tools out there that are provided directly by the providers that can help you monitor your deliverability so that you can ensure that you don't create problems and that you maintain stellar reputation and you can focus on sending emails instead of panicking that maybe some people are not getting the amazing emails you are creating. So as I've been introduced, I'm Yanna-Torry. I've been in deliverability for almost a decade now. I give it a couple of more months and it will be a full 10 years. I have one very simple goal, is to democratize and simplify deliverability knowledge. As time is progressing, spam filters are getting harder, or at least they're getting a lot more strict. And bigger companies do have the resources to hire deliverability specialists, IT teams, to monitor and to maintain deliverability and to fix problems, of course. And smaller businesses who are unaware of what is okay and what is not okay keep making decisions based on misconceptions. So I am here, and so is the Email Geek community, to help everybody navigate these changes, because one day you might be doing everything fine and everything is inboxing, and tomorrow you wake up and for some reason something's changed. The spam filters were okay yesterday with what you were doing and today they are not, and then you need to go back and change. And I would love to make sure that people are not making decisions based on common misconceptions that are circulating the internet. There's a lot more marketers out there than there are email geeks. So here we are. Not only me, of course, there's a bunch of specialists today to help you with all of that. So let's get started. So what is reputation? It isn't something very complicated. It is really a metric between do we like you enough to accept your emails or not? And different things can happen if we like your emails or not. And different inboxes, this is where it gets complicated, different inboxes are going to act differently. If you're in your list, you have, for example, a couple of Gmail subscribers, you got G Suite, Microsoft Office, Yahoo, Verizon, you got La Poste from France, you got all these different inbox service providers. Of course, they're taking a lot of information externally. So they're checking with block lists like Spamhaus or Servo to see what they think of you. You know, are you sending emails to spam traps? Or are you generating high spam complaints? But between ISPs, there's not that much information being circulated. Gmail is not asking Microsoft, hey, what do you think of, Yanna-Torry.com? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are people engaging or not? The ISPs see the emails that you send to them and how people are interacting with them in their inbox. And when it comes to reputation, we often think that, if we have low bounce rates or low spam complaints, everything's okay. People are opening emails, people are clicking on emails, everything's okay. And of course, it would be nice to have a little bit more specific metrics so that we can see, we see things in the email, it's mainly in the ESP that everything's okay, but is it really the reality on the Google side or on the Microsoft side? So it is important to be able to monitor things. globally, most of the people have a lot of Gmail or G Suite users in their list. So if you don't have the budget to go pay for every Postmaster tool out there or for expensive deliverability monitoring tools, what you can do is, of course, have access to Google Postmaster. And I click too fast, but it's called Google Postmaster. It's free, it's provided by Google. They provide you deliverability monitoring information to tell you what they think of you. And if the majority of your list is Gmail, you can assume that if Gmail doesn't like you and you're doing the same thing with every other subscriber on your list that is using Hotmail or Yahoo or any other inbox service provider, that the same problems are a little bit everywhere. Now, the important part here, and it can be a little bit scary, is they don't give so much information. They just kind of color coded, or they just give you the data like, do we think that your domain has a high reputation, a medium reputation, low, or bad? Now, in order to get this kind of data, you need to be sending a couple thousand emails at a time or per month. Of course, if you're not sending emails one day, they will not give you the data that day because there's no reputation that they can take data from and give it to you. The data is stored for 120 days. So tomorrow there's going to be 1 day missing. You can either take screenshots every month. You can either not care about what happened 120 days ago. It might be too late. You should focus on what's happening now and see if you can change it. And the stressful part, though, is that high reputation usually means that more than 90% of your emails are landing in the inbox. This is why when we're talking about deliverability, we cannot promise 100% because there's a lot of things that come into play that will affect reputation. It can be something that is related to your reputation and your deliverability over time, so historical reputation, or it can be something that happened that one time. So for example, there was this really great example from Jennifer Nispola from Kickbox. She was saying that, in the content, somebody had forgotten a space in between two sentences. So there was a dot and the next word altogether made it look like it was a domain. The spam filters, to us, when we see the email, it just looks like the space is missing between the dot and the next sentence. But to the spam filter, it created a domain that existed actually and had really bad reputation. It was probably scamming or something like that. So when they forgot the space and the words were together, that email ended up going to spam or being blocked. There's a lot of things that can happen, very silly mistakes. We upload our logo and it looks very small in the email, but the file is like 10 megabytes. There's a lot of technical little silly things that can happen that can affect the deliverability, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it affects our reputation. When it comes to Google Postmaster, they're telling you your reputation based on what happened that day and calculated together with your historical reputation. So when you end up in medium, that's where the stressful part comes. Medium doesn't mean that you're between 90 and 70. It means that between 10 to 90% of your emails are landing in spam. You don't know if you're closer to all of your emails being in spam or closer to only about 10% landing in spam. So it might feel not as stressful when you see medium, but you should care about it. You should want to take your reputation and make the necessary changes for it to get high. In my experience, the problems are always the same. It always comes from people's list. If they're authenticated, they're sending content that fits their business. Spammy words are not the reasons your emails are going to spam. There's casinos that exist. They send emails and those people get the emails because that's what they want to receive, and it is a casino. Spam filters are smart enough to understand context. So if you're selling something, don't use convoluted ways of trying to sell and tell them to buy. Tell them, click here to buy now, or whatever you want to say. As long as it fits with your business, what you've been sending historically, and that people engage with it. If we're trying to hide and change your text so that it goes through spam filters, one, it's not enough. The spam filters are smarter than that. If you have bad reputation and don't use spammy words, you're still going to go to spam. Spammy words are a thing of the past for most inboxes out there. Now, if you might be sending emails to a very random greet inbox in the middle of nowhere and you're a adult company or a casino, maybe you'll have some issues. But by communicating with them and letting them know that you're a legitimate business, those issues go away. With all the main providers that are on your list, you do not have to worry about content. So you have to remember it has to fit what you've been sending over time. It has to fit what your business is doing. And it, of course, has to fit what's happening in the email. Content is not the reason your emails are going to spam. It's not, it's calculated, and is one of the reasons why emails are going to promotions tab, for example. But if you're promoting yourself, your business, your product, a new schedule, if you're promoting anything, and promotion is the big definition of promotion, promotion is going to end up in promotions. The inbox tab is for emails that people are going to reply back to. That's what that inbox is there. The promotions tab is not the spam folder. If you have a medium reputation, it doesn't mean that more of your emails are going to promotion. It's still going to the inbox or spam folder, depending on who's receiving the email. It is important to understand the tabs are the inbox. And of course, not a lot of people use them. Not everyone is using them. So trying to figure out the words that are going to get you at the right place is not going to help if people are getting them in chronological order. If you have a lot of energy to be playing around with content, you can have more time to create better personalization, better marketing, better analysis of your statistics, so you can better target people. Take that energy and put it in something that's actually going to help your deliverability. So when it comes to Google Postmaster, it is really a really good indicator of what is happening elsewhere. Of course, it is important to understand that crying and getting angry and sending very, very angry messages to the Google support is not going to change anything. So the most important thing to do is to make sure that your emails are authenticated, that your content fits, and that you are removing people at some point or reducing the volume to the certain group of people that you might be losing over time. I might have subscribed, like I've moved countries a couple of times in the last couple of years, and I am not the type of person that complains, but I'm also not the type of person that clicks unsubscribe. So I still get messages from every grocery store I've ever been to that have a point card, any pharmacy I've been to that I have a point card as well. And because I'm too lazy to unsubscribe, all these people over time are accumulating people like me who might have moved or who might just not care about the emails that the grocery store is sending, and they send a lot of emails. Over time, it creates an issue where if they were sending 100 emails to people who subscribed this month, and now we're 2, 3, 4 years later, the 100 people have become 10,000. But on a monthly basis, 100 new subscribers, maybe for the last couple of months, put another 500. That means that over time, every month, there's always just about 600 people that care about the emails. But because you have accumulated all these people over time, the engagement ratios are getting smaller and smaller. When it started, it was 100 people who cared about the business, and now we're sending 10,000 emails with only 600 people who might care. Over time, that looks like, one, you don't care about who's on your list. You're just trying to grow your list. It also looks like you're sending emails just to make sure people remember that your business exists and that there's no relationship. You don't care more than you have to about the people on your list. And we're all okay with social media making those decisions. If I put a picture and nobody likes it of my friends, no one else that are not following me is going to see the picture. If I put a picture that my friends are go crazy about, Instagram or LinkedIn is going to share it with more people that may or may not know me as well. And then we flip to email and we're like, hey, I have permission, I should send an email, and Gmail should accept that email. That is not the case anymore. So it is important to manage your list very, very well and to be honest with yourself. Does everybody need this email? I don't mean go and delete everybody from your infrastructure. One, you should never delete people. You leave them unsubscribed to make sure that the system and the ESP you're using keeps your list clean. So if you re-upload a list by mistake, those statuses stay unsubscribed. If you delete, the ESP doesn't know anymore, will resubscribe people. But it is important to just be honest with yourself. 99.999% of all the cases I deal with, the problem comes from the list. And I will tell you exactly why. From the spam filters, they have all these things that are important to them. Are you on a block list? Are you authenticated? Is your HTML broken maybe? Do you have spammy links that are going to bring people and get them scammed? All these things. But there is nothing as important as what the human does in the inbox. Gmail and Hotmail, the spam filter is a machine. It's not a human looking at your email and saying, oh yeah, Yanna-Torry wants to receive this email. Yanna-Torry does not want to receive this email. It's a machine making decision. So when I go into my inbox and I report an email as spam, or I ignore emails again and again and again, the spam filter is going to take that into account a lot more importantly than what is the content, like, oh, I don't know, it's an online casino, or it's something that we don't really like. If she wants the email and she's engaging with the emails, she will continue to get the emails. So it's very important to not only think about how spam filters work as machines and what we can do to make them happy. At the end of the day, if your subscriber is happy, the spam filters see it. And it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, a typo, your template is a little bit broken, or your image is a little bit too heavy. If people want to receive your email, the spam filters are going to do it, whatever they have to do to make sure that subscribers get the email. But it all starts with you and being honest with your business. And you have no idea how many times I've been talking to customers and they have Google Postmaster and Google is telling them that the reputation is low and they don't believe it. This is coming directly from Google's. They're telling Google, no, there's no plurals, Google, if it's not great, you need to fix something. Things have changed over time. Spam filters have changed over time. It is extremely important to understand that if Instagram can change their algorithm, the spam filters are doing it too, with a lot more money, with a lot more, AI and algorithms in the back. The more tricks we come up with to try and get around, the more we're teaching them what to look for and to block when somebody else or I do it again. These spam filters are growing exponentially quickly. In the last 2 years, it went from content helping to your content is not going to help you inbox, even if you have the smoothest, non-aggressive email on the planet. If you have bad reputation because people don't care about your email or people are complaining about your email, you're not going to inbox. So when Google tells you there's a problem or Microsoft tells you there's a problem, listen and change the things. And another important part here, a lot of inboxes do not provide spam complaints back. So a hard bounce, if an email bounces, ESPs know, and they will let you know that the email has hard bounce or had a soft bounce and will act accordingly. Either, try again later or completely unsubscribe your contact. When it comes to spam complaints, not every inbox service provider provides that information. So you might be sending emails to a subscriber list that's, from Gmail or, from in Greece, and they're not providing that information back. So if I complain, if I'm using that inbox and I complain, the company doesn't know. So they can never remove it from the list. And this is not the fault of the ESP. There is no email marketing software provider that can invent feedback loops. The inbox provides that information. Some of them will tell you which email, some of them will tell you which email address complain. And by email, I mean like a campaign. Some might tell you from which IP it originated, and some will only tell you the percentage, which means that if you don't go into your list and try and figure out who might have complained by they might not be engaging anymore, you're going to accumulate complainers in your list. And it's going to reflect here. So removing, when you see things go down, doing a very soft list cleanup is definitely going to help you. This is what we want to see when it comes to IP reputations. When you're using ESPs, this is information that they're constantly looking at, that they're constantly making decisions on. They're trying to find if people in the system is abusing, their infrastructure and signed up, uploaded a list that was not good, for example, or is creating or generating a lot of spam complaints, a lot of hard bounces, low engagement rates. The IPs and the domains are important. They do affect each other, but it depends again. So if you have your infrastructure with your IPs and only your emails are being sent from this infrastructure, the inboxes know, and they will see it as a whole ecosystem. When you're using your domain and sending authenticated emails, hopefully from ESPs like Smaily, there is a separation. The inboxes know over time that, the IPs from Smaily are ESP IPs, and that the domain has its own reputation, so that if you do something bad, unless you're doing something extremely bad, it won't affect it as much one way or the other. The ESP can support you and help you if you have reputation that needs a little bit of help, but it will not fix the problem. And if you're not a good sender, you will not ruin the IP reputation of everyone. This is why reputable ESPs like Smaily maintain a clean infrastructure. They're not allowing millions and millions of spammers to be using their infrastructure because, of course, over time, that makes them look bad. We want to ensure that you understand that IP reputation, especially if it's not dedicated, it is shared like any other ESP, is going to help you inbox better, but it cannot do miracles. And you need to make sure that you maintain your reputation and that you're looking at this every day or every time you get a new data set of information so that you can make better decisions, because you can. And most of the problems, trust us, it is always the list. It is very rare that there's real abuse. It is very rare, extremely rare. In 10 years, I think 2 times the spam filters were penalizing a company and there was completely nothing wrong. And they had to update certain things to make sure that they weren't penalizing somebody that shouldn't be penalized. 2 times only this happened to me. Everybody else, it's the list. It's being inconsistent with content or timing. So the human behavior is just wrong. It's erratic. If you're sending emails whenever you remember to send one, people are not expecting them. They cannot engage with them. And that just looks bad. It doesn't mean that you're bad and you're doing bad things. It's just that you're showing to the spam filters that, well, no one is reading my emails. And that doesn't look good over time, because there are ratios that they're looking at over time. How many emails are you sending, to whom, what are these people are doing? And the human factor is way more important than, do I have a link in my email, or is it HTML versus just text? That's not going to affect your reputation. The other thing that's nice to see is the authentication. So for example, you can see here the DMARC, there's a couple of little tweaks. So over time, we fixed the authentication here for this customer. They only had DKIM. I came in, we put SPF, made sure everything was there, and then we put DMARC in place. What was interesting here was we were expecting these drops of the number of emails that Gmail received, or the percentage of emails that were DMARC successful. We assumed that it was tools that they were sending, their G Suite account, that we forgot to authenticate something, because DKIM proves that it's you sending the email. SPF proves that, I gave permission to Smaley or whatever other company to send emails on my behalf. And DMARC is like the big brother who is checking all the emails coming in and saying, okay, this one has DKIM, this one has SPF, DMARC passes. And if there's one of them missing, or both of them missing, then we get a report saying, hey, I received, from the 10,000 emails today with your domain, I received 100 emails that didn't have SPF or didn't have DKIM. So we suspected that it was a tool that we forgot to authenticate. And what we realized, that there was somebody outside in the world using that domain to send emails with their own content, but using the domain of that customer. It was not mydomain.com, we just changed it here. So it was extremely interesting to see, like, hey, everything's supposed to be a straight, line, the blue, red, and yellow. You should not be able to see it because they're one on top of the other at 100%. But when you see things go down, it can indicate that your emails that you're sending, maybe in another department, somebody's using, I don't know, invoicing tool, or a new inbox provider, or a calendar invite that is using your domain and that is not authenticated. Or it can mean that people are using your domain and they're scamming other people with it. So it's important to monitor this, because the last thing you need is not only to create your own problems, but to have somebody else creating problems using your reputation. I talk a lot about authentication, so if you ever have any questions, I can talk your ear off. Authentication is number one. You should not be sending emails without a domain that is authenticated with every one of the tools you're using, including your personal inbox or your business inbox. Sorry, a lot of people tend to authenticate Smaley and not their G Suite account. When you see different things, so here is a screenshot of a tool that has all the reputation of all the domains at one shot. It is very easy to see which domains are performing badly, which ones are slowly, becoming better, and which ones are slowly becoming bad. Of course, I assume you don't have this many domains, but if you did, there's a lot of tools that can help you manage it so that you can log in, look at things, and leave. If everything is green and everything is good, you don't have to worry. It's extremely important. And I think it's the easiest piece of information. I can talk to you for hours and tell you have a problem, fix it. And then you can just log into this and see, oh, it's red. Oops. It's very simple information. I don't think anybody has a difficulty reading a graph between high and bad. So I'm going to go over this one very quickly. But SNDS is the same thing as Google Postmaster, but instead of Gmail, it's from Microsoft. This is something ESPs have access to, or something that people who have dedicated IPs can also have access to. Of course, you need to be sending more than one email a day to Microsoft. They need a certain amount of volume in order to give you a reputation. And the information they give is based on IP. So with Google, we are going to authenticate the domain. And with Microsoft, everything is based on the IPs, which is why if you don't have dedicated IPs, you cannot have access to this information. But don't worry, your ESP is looking at this every 5 seconds to make sure that everything is okay. And as you can see here, they do explain to you that what the color means. So they have 3 colors, green, yellow, red. The fourth one is non-existent. You're so bad, they don't want to give you data. Not really a color, but close enough. So as you can see here, they have about a little bit over 50% of their emails that is landing in the inbox at 90% or more. And they have the other half, which is either landing 10% in the inbox or all the way to 90%. Now, of course, we want to ensure that that number becomes zero and all those emails end up being green. But because it's IP, they're going to be able to give you IP trends. They're going to tell you the recipient trends, how many are going to the inbox, how many are not in terms of volume. The IP trends is how many of the IPs that you're sending from have which reputation. They will give you the bounce rate of those IPs, the number, spam, how many spam traps you've hit. And when you're hitting spam traps, sometimes Microsoft, you hit one spam trap. That's all it takes, one, and they're really, really angry at you. And of course, the complaint rate is extremely important to make sure that it stays very, very close to zero. On average, we like to say under 1%, but because we all know that not every single inbox service provider provides the feedback loop of who is complaining, I like to be very, very strategic, and spam rate should be below 0.03%. We all know about the 1%, but if you can keep it below 0.03%, you're doing well. People are engaging, you're emailing people with consent and people who want to receive your email. Because there's a lot of industries, and that's just random. Some people, I don't click on report spam. If I don't like something, I will unsubscribe, or I just ignore emails until Google decides for me that I don't care about them. But when it comes to spam complaints, certain industries tend to have people in their list that are complainers, that they're really quick to report an email as spam. And that's not something any of us have control over. It depends who the human is behind the subscriber we have on our end. Now, there's another thing that's really interesting to do. It's inboxing tests. I'm going to assume that a lot of you know what they are, but I want to explain to you how they work so that you can make better decisions based on the data that you're getting. So this is an inboxing test from a customer that has a great reputation, and we did a test. So what happens is that we give you a list of email addresses. You take a campaign, you can duplicate it or create a new one, and you just send that campaign to that list of emails. What's going to happen is that those inboxes are going to receive the emails in the inbox, in spam, or nowhere at all. And the system is going to report back to you how many of those emails landed where. Now, this is it's not because everything here is at 100% that the emails will inbox at 100%. It's not because you see here that emails don't inbox very well, that in real life, emails won't inbox anywhere. And I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to seed listing or inboxing tests, the inboxes are neutral inboxes. They have no personality. I am young and I like IT stuff. So in my inbox, there's a lot of IT stuff. And I get a lot of requests of, do you want me to build your website, Yanna-Torry? My father is 73 years old. He owns a restaurant and he still likes to use cash money registers instead of, credit cards and things like that. Anybody trying to sell him anything IT business related, his inbox tends to block. Not because the reputation of the sender is bad, because he just doesn't care and the inbox knows. I tend to care a little bit more, so I tend to get a little bit more spammy or cold emails related to IT stuff because I do interact with other emails that resemble it. So you might have 100%, but if you're an IT company sending emails to my dad, he probably won't get them. If you send them to me, I will. So your reputation is great. Your historical reputation is great, but there's also the human factor that we should not forget about. Then the other thing is that neutral inboxes, because they have no personality, sometimes you don't have these inboxes in your list. You might not have Yandex or La Poste or Orange.fr or Brazilian inboxes. So they might tell you that your emails are landing in spam, not because you have bad reputation, but because they have no reputation with you. They don't know what to expect. So for now, they're putting the emails in spam. They might allow some to go in. They want to see what is going to happen. And then if they see everything's okay, they're going to allow more and more of those emails to inbox. So inboxing tests are there to help you. They're not there to warm up your inboxes. Sorry? Sound at the back. So I wanted to make sure that people understand that these are not like 100% like Google Postmaster. Google Postmaster tells you you're bad, you're bad. It tells you that it has a high reputation, it's high reputation. This is just to monitor. If you realize that things are going badly or you're not understanding why I don't know, the marketing is not working as well, it is important to see this. So doing a test a week to make sure that you're maintaining things is okay. Just make sure that you're doing tests with inboxes you do have a relationship with, because some of them will just block things because they just don't know you, which doesn't mean you have bad reputation. We need to understand that. Then, of course, IPs can be on block lists. Some block lists are really going to impact you. So, for example, if your domain is on Spamhaus, your emails to any Microsoft address or Hotmail, Microsoft Office, the whole thing will hard bounce. Not because, well, I mean, I assume if you're on a block list, things are going badly, but it can be because somebody abused your form, added some spam traps, and Spamhaus says, whoa, there's a problem. So for a couple of days, Microsoft is going to hard bounce your emails. Google won't do anything. It will care, it will know that you're on Spamhaus listings, but if you're okay and you're a good sender, it won't affect you. A lot of people sometimes panic that the ESP that they're with has a block list. One, they are on it, like you have no idea. A sender who doesn't have a reputation or like a business reputation or relationship with block lists will take a long time to delist. ESPs are very quick to be able to delist. They have the relationship with the block list. They know exactly which customer to remove, and the inboxes are smarter, and they know that there's a difference between an ESP that might have been abused for a couple of minutes until it was shut down, and the other senders. So you do not have to worry that, oh, there's, I'm using an ESP and there's, they're on UC Protect. One, no one really cares about UC Protect. And two, you have your domain reputation and your sending reputation and your relationship with your subscribers is not going to be a problem. And of course, same thing with the domain. And make sure you're authenticated. You have no idea how many times I've unauthenticated my own emails because I was making DNS entries. Doing a check every time is extremely important. And last thing, of course, please check your DMARC. You have no idea how many businesses tell me, well, nobody really, we're a small company. Who cares about our domain? We don't need to authenticate or protect ourselves. You are exactly who we're going to use if we want to do spoofing. We're going to use your information because you are not protecting yourself. PayPal is checking this all the time. They have complete anti-abuse teams. Smaley as well. We have teams that are looking at this all the time. If I'm going to take somebody's identity, I'm going to take the identity of somebody who's not protecting themselves. So implementing DMARC sounds extremely complicated, but if you know how to copy paste, that's all you need. And there are a lot of people out there, a lot of resources like Let's Authenticate the World that will help you get authenticated and ready. This is very quick before so I can answer everybody's questions. Monitor your logs. People tend to look at hard bounces, for example, and they don't check what type of hard bounces. Hard bounces tell you a lot of information. Open rates going really up without you having done any magical marketing means that maybe there's spam filters looking at your content or looking at what you're doing to figure out why there's issues. If your open rates go really quickly, really down, the same thing. So it's extremely important to make sure that your open rates, your click rates, your bounces, and the types that you're seeing are consistent over time. Whenever things fluctuate, then it's time to do another inboxing test or see if there's anything that you have done. Maybe somebody uploaded a list. Maybe it's Black Friday and we started, upping the volume a little bit too quickly. There's a lot of things that you can check, and it will help you monitor reputation. If you see that, for example, emails are timing out, or the hard bounces are, we do not trust your emails, we are bouncing your email, listen and make a change. And that's about it. So I hope everybody learned something new. I know I was talking very quickly, and you guys can rewatch it in like 0.75 speed, but there's quite a lot of things to talk about.
Thank you, Yanna-Torry. Wow. You know a lot of, you know how to talk quickly about really complicated things that seem like easy, but is it like easy, or is it complicated to set up all those things if I'm a small business owner myself?
I think it is. The biggest problem we have is the misconception of how email works. Because if I said to somebody, if a business manager or whatever business decided to start posting on LinkedIn, posting on Instagram, we all know that it has to be really good, or else we're not going to get the engagement. And we're going to spend hours creating the best image and trying to see when to post it and then we come to email and we're like, oh, we have a promotion, 10% off, send. I don't know why that, I know why, but I still don't understand why the mentality is so different when it comes to email. We have this idea and this assumption, we all send emails, we all know how to receive and to send emails. How complicated can it be? And if we just took a step back and put as much energy or thought, like I like using this example, send the emails to your mom. You know, like I send things that I do to my mom, and usually, she, you know, I'm like, oh, you're amazing, Yanna-Torry. If your mom stops reading your own emails, maybe, you know, she should want to read every single email you're creating, or be like, wow, this is amazing design, amazing business. If she doesn't think your emails are interesting, your customers definitely don't. I don't think deliverability and reputation, we back in the day was IPs and rotating. Now it's, if you know how to use social media, you know how it works logically. Email's gonna do the same thing. And the spam filters just want to make sure that their customers, our subscribers, are happy. That's it. It's not that difficult. Content is not a problem. Just be logical. Send good emails.
There are a lot of questions about the presentation.
Yes.
I just start. For ex Nope, nope. Are there any steps to take in order to get transactional emails out of the promotions tab? Like, is it the thing or not?
It depends what your business is about, and it also depends how customers are interacting with it. If they're interacting with it like any other email, like tracking link email, it is promotional. The inbox is there for emails that are going to be like answered back to. So if you're sending me an email, it's going to come to the inbox because I need to reply back. A tracking link is going to go to the promotions tab because it is something that I want to go check often until the package comes. And in most cases, people are going to just send another tracking link every time there's an update, which becomes annoying to somebody who's like, you know, if I'm trying to email you guys and I have 45 tracking links because I'm a shopaholic, that's not going to help. So there's no worry there. Transactional emails, though, do tend to inbox better because they're important emails that the inbox tends to realize that they cannot, you know, put in spam. So for example, I might have reported a flight company being spammy because they don't stop sending me messages to go to Japan. So I get annoyed and I say report a spam. But if I buy a ticket with them, I will get the message in my inbox or the promotion tab saying, hey, you know, here's your invoice, here's the ticket with the information. Transactional emails tend to inbox better. But then again, if you're a horrible sender, they will also not inbox. But the promotion tab is the inbox. That's it's been over 10 years. People know how to use the promotions tabs now. They didn't at the beginning. It was true that engagement went down, but over time in the promotions tab, they tend to have less spam complaints and higher engagement.
I agree. We also see from our clients that like 10 years ago or so, they were really afraid of the promotions tab, but today it's okay. If you send relevant information, targeted people are opt-in, then it arrives, they will open it, they will bring their business to you. But Daoud in the chat has a tip. What do you think about it? In my case, I send to my own seats and use a bot to move received emails from promotion to primary tab. Does it work?
It does work. It does work. If you do it to yourself, though, it won't work unless you have so much time you can create a billion inboxes. If I, for example, I receive your email, I put it in the inbox, I just taught Google what to do. But it won't affect other people. It might affect other people like you, but if you have your own seed listing inbox that, you know, for example, the IT example. So if I get IT emails and I move them to the inbox, because I want to receive them, I want them in my face from certain brands, Google will understand that and might think, hey, other people like Yanna-Torry who care about IT stuff should maybe also get in the inbox. But my father, who doesn't care, even if the whole world put it in the inbox, he would never get it in the inbox. Not only would he probably get it in spam, but he would get it in updates or promotions or somewhere else because of the way he interacts. So there is a level of, we're teaching the spam filters what people want. But if we take the personas in case, we take the amount of people on your list, and also which inboxes, like Google is not going to tell Microsoft to change the emails from promotions to inbox or vice versa. So there's so much energy that you should be putting into it. Yes, that's how it works, but at a scale. So if you have, you know, 100 inboxes, but you're sending to 10,000 people, I don't think it's going to be enough.
All right. I have one extremely stupid question. This is my own question. And I'm seeing that some of the clients are using this, that they're starting using the domain. They're sending about 5 months. Then they're seeing that, oh, okay, my deliverability is not good and my open rates are not good. Then they will take the next domain, and after half year they will take the next domain. Your
No,
point is
it's
that
not do
this is
that.
absolutely wrong, yes?
It is wrong, and I can say it very quickly. When you start using a new domain, well, let's back up first. Spam filters will open and click emails, and I'm not talking about Apple. I mean, Apple's doing it, yes, but not for the same reasons. Google, who doesn't know anything about you, needs to verify more things. They don't have historical reputation, so they're looking at content, they're clicking on links, they're seeing what is happening after, so they can analyze as much as possible. So your open rates are up at the beginning because they're looking at you, or they can go up because they're really looking at you because you have bad reputation or people complain. So over time, open rates go lower where they're stable. It doesn't mean that your reputation completely went bad, but if it did actually go bad, the problem is your list. The people who are getting the emails are either complaining and you don't know, they're complaining and you do know, or they just don't care about your emails. And usually it's not that your business is bad or you don't have consent. It's sometimes we stop doing emails for 6 months. We don't have a manager who takes care of the email, and for years we forgot, and now we're starting again. You need to teach the spam filters to accept your emails. Changing domains is going to do the same thing. You're going to have these inflated open rates that are fake, to more fake than the fake that they are already when everything's okay, and they become neutral again. And if there is a problem, it's going to be the list. It's not your content. It's not your links. You don't have enough reputation. I mean, how horrible do you have to be as a sender to have so many problems in 5 months? It's virtually impossible unless you're really abusing the system. Don't change domains. I mean, I wish I could do the same thing in real life. We go to the bank, we don't pay, and when we just change identities and go to another bank and take more credit. That'd be cool, right? But it doesn't work that way, and it doesn't work domains either. And I'm telling you now, they know that you bought a new domain. It's called snowshoeing, and as years progressing, they know so much. They can check the whois information. They could check the A record of your domain. They could change the content, check the content, the links in your content, the redirect links. They know you bought a new domain. Trust me. Even if your information is hidden in your whois, they know it's still you. So changing domains is just a band-aid, and it's not even a good band-aid because it's really leaking. It's just there, and they're not doing anything. Don't change domains, fix it. Everything is fixable. I fix domains that are horrible to really great, but business changed. That's what changed the email and the reputation. The business changed how I was doing things. It's the most important part.
So, but as you say that filters open, inboxes open your emails, they click on the links.
Yeah.
So, and
wanted to
talking
be
about
consistent.
Apple, who opens like
No, we're talking everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a report a couple of years ago. I think it was Verizon. They were, because they have Yahoo, AOL, Verizon. They know who's opening emails, right? It's their inbox. So they were comparing their open rates versus the open rates that ESPs were saying. And was it 2014 to 2017? By 2017, 60% of open rates that the ESPs were reporting were not actual opens in the inbox. 60%. That was 2017. That's why we're looking at consistency. Open rates have to be consistent. If you don't do anything crazy, or your volume goes up, or your marketing becomes so much better. We're doing things consistently, open rates consistent, click rates consistent, and add Google UTM links. Check what people are doing. Spam filters who don't click for 10 million, don't send a page for an hour. They're there for a couple of seconds. Check your drop. If people click on the link and then they drop immediately, do they drop in milliseconds, or are they dropping after a couple of seconds because you brought them to the wrong place? You can maybe filter out some spam clicks because no one's ever clicked your link 300 times. If you see that, it's not true. No one loves us enough to click on a link 300 times. So there's a lot of things you can do to maybe make the statistics better. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure things are consistent in terms of for deliverability. In terms of money, I hope you want to make it grow. But in terms of deliverability, it just has to stay consistent over time.
Okay, there was actually a question about how to evaluate engagement while opens being less and less accurate. Do you have any more suggestions? I suggest our clients to measure how much money they are earning with that email, but what else?
Email is always more than just the statistics that we see, right? Like if I have 100% open and nobody buys my product, who cares?
Mm.
So it can be money, it can be clicks, it can be replies. People forget that people can reply. Why have a no reply, for example, in email? The emails are going to go somewhere. There's an inbox that exists. Why not allow people to reply back with reviews, pictures, product placement, questions? They don't have to go somewhere else. And trust me, not a million people are going to be replying back to their emails. It's not like, you give them the option to reply back and now you're going to get thousands of emails. No one has the time to reply back to your particular email about shoes, for example. But ask them to do certain things, make them click. Don't put all the information in the email. The email is supposed to bring people to do something else. If the email is enough and they don't go anywhere else because you gave it all away, yes, of course, it makes it a little bit more difficult. If your business is all about, knowledge sharing or maybe just the email, then make sure it's consistent. But if the point of the email is to get them to do something else, like subscribe to the event today and come and sign up so you can listen to me talk about deliverability very, very quickly, that's what we care about. If 100% open and nobody came to the event, that wouldn't be good. If 10% open and the 10% subscribe, that's really good. We got the attention of the right people. Then we know, okay, maybe the subject line needs to be changed. Or it's the wrong time or the wrong people that we're sending the emails to. Engagement is being able to monitor what it takes to make what we want them to do, buy, engage, whatever it is. That's real engagement. Opening an email and reading it, and maybe, how many times do you open an email and roll your eyes and you're like, that's engagement, but it's not the kind I'm looking for.
But we had a question about the last topic where someone said that like long emails are also a thing. Maybe long emails are such thing that people like to read. So this is engagement for Gmail, isn't it?
Yeah. Like it depends on your business, and that's the thing. There's a really good website called Really Good Emails, right? reallygoodemails.com, and you go see what other people are doing, and you're like, wow, this is an awesome idea. It doesn't mean it's an awesome idea for your business and your subscribers. You know who's on your list. You know how you gain them. Was it a promotion? Was it a Facebook ad? Was it directly on your website? Was it during, they came to a webinar and now they're on the newsletter? All these people are going to act differently and they're going to want different things. But you need to test it. A/B tests are here for that. You can even take a certain segment of people that you're really sure care about your emails, that are going to give attention, and give them a long version, a short version. A lot of people are gamifying their emails, which is really good for inbox spam filters, because they see people clicking on things like, did you like this email? Did you not like this email? And they'll put an emoji or like a GIF or something, a GIF, a GIF, whatever you want to call it. And you can click on it and it brings you to the website. Making the people engage is great. Making people read is great. It's just a harder metric to measure. We don't necessarily know how long people are reading, or if they're reading very quickly, they just scroll and whatever their eyes catches kind of gives them the idea. But test it out. Email is really cool. If we spend more time doing cool strategies, we're going to have better deliverability than trying to spend our time going around the spam filters. I see so many companies, rotating IPs and rotating domains and changing content and changing. Just take the same amount of hours and put it in better marketing and you'll be good. And you won't ever have to call me.
There's a question about GDPR. What is the alternative if we do not wish to use Google? But I think the Postmaster tools does not get access to personal data.
Yeah, exactly. GDPR is not personal data, so there's no issue there. It's also one of the reasons why they're one of the ISPs that don't share all the spam complaints for GDPR reasons, but they could have done something anyways, but that's my opinion. But they're trying to minimize issues. There's no issue there. You can only have access to your own domain. So in order to do that, you need to copy paste a DNS entry inside your GoDaddy or your hosting provider. So only you would have access to that and whoever you share it with. But there's no personal information there. It's domain, and your domain is public information. I could go online and check where you bought it and when you bought it and when it's renewing. It's not private. Your personal information is private if you wish it to be, but not domain. It's public domain.
Okay. Do you have a strategy for how to remove spam traps from your list? Like a quick 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of list cleaning. So list cleaning is the biggest problem. One, make sure that your forms are protected. You have double opt-in. The inboxes know the difference between can you confirm your email that went to a spam trap, and can you confirm your email, which then confirmed it, and then it's now getting emails, which shouldn't happen because there's no human. They cannot click on the link. So making sure that you have either a reCAPTCHA or, if you're doing signups, a lot of people tend to allow 1 million signups, and then you're just accumulating fake email addresses. 2, cleaning your list, you can clean it with like tools like Bouncer or Zero Bounce or Webula, but they have the spam traps they know exist. They don't have them all. So they might remove some of them. Black Box, for example, with Use Bouncer does a toxicity check. So it will tell you different things. If it's a spam trap, a known spam trap, or if it's somebody that their email got leaked and they tend to complain a lot. And the last one is look at your engagement. If you send emails every week and somebody is on your list and has opened less than one email in 3 months, don't necessarily unsubscribe them, but put them on a sunset policy. And if the person does nothing, then you remove them. Real or not real, spam trap or not a spam trap, those people should be removed either way. And spam traps don't have humans. So the best thing they can do is the spam filter of the inbox opens and clicks, but they will never buy, they will never confirm something, they will never click and do something on the website ever, because it's only the spam filter that can do that. The spam trap is just an inbox that no one ever looks at. Spam traps, it's in the word, it's a trap to find you. So there is no list everywhere, and there's millions of new ones every day. There's no list somewhere you can go and just remove them all. Don't buy lists. Don't scrape emails from LinkedIn. We know a lot of our peers own spam trap networks, and they own domains that used to exist. Electricity companies, shoe companies, manufacturing companies, those domains existed. And now they are not owned by those companies anymore because they're closed. And we hide all those emails around the internet in LinkedIn profiles, in the HTML of websites, in Apollo. We put them everywhere so we can find you and know that you're contacting people that shouldn't be contacted. And there's millions and millions more every day. So don't buy lists, protect your forms, and over time, remove people that are not engaging, and be logical. If you're sending one email every day, you shouldn't wait 6 months for unengagement. You should do it rather quickly, because there's not only domain-based spam traps, there's Gmail, Yahoo, they create their own. Like I have my Hotmail from when I was 12 years old. It's a horrible email address that I created when I was 12. I have never logged back into it. But if you send an email to it, it still exists, like it doesn't bounce. So it is a spam trap or a low engagement kind of looking at you kind of email address. Unfortunately, there's no way to remove them all.
Okay, there are 2 more questions, but I think we already covered it. How to deal with Apple Cloud release with fake openers? But we will have to just cover something else.
I just made it public. That was the thing. Like us here, we're going around and we're like, listen to us, like we're trying to, I don't know, spread the word of the email lord, and no one's listening to us. And then Apple says, hello, open rates are not good. And we're like, we've been saying it for years. Open rates is not it's not that it's not important, but it's not the only metric to look at. For years, when it came out, we were just like, great. It just, Apple had to say it, and now everybody's panicking. It's always been not an important, it's not a very good metric, because on the technological level, it doesn't work well. If you have 99% Microsoft Office, your open rates are going to be low of what you see. Not for real, because like I don't download the images every time I read an email. If you are sending emails to universities, oh my God, what happened with the tracking pixel over there? Nobody knows what's happening. They don't even know what's happening. It's opening emails that should not be open. It's not opening emails that were open. The technology is limited since forever. And now we have the spam filters creating issues. It's just, even worse.
Okay, last question. Our next presenter is Ben, who is copywriter, and he's all about content.
Yes.
You are all about technical things.
Yes.
So,
so I need people like
that. Which one is more important?
If you're not purchasing lists, okay, or emailing people that you emailed 10 years ago, content is the most important, is very important. And I don't necessarily mean by spam words, I mean that you want people to engage with your email. If people are engaging with your email in a positive manner, they're doing the things that you want them to do, the spam filters see it. We might not see good open rates, but Google knows exactly who opened an email, who didn't open an email, right? So having great copy is one of the most important things. Deliverability is here to just make sure we're like Equifax. We tell you your credit score, but we're not going to help you fix it. Good content, good marketing is what's going to help you fix it, as long as you're not purchasing lists. That one, the spam filter doesn't care. If you have amazing content, they know that you have spam traps and so on. So content is the best thing, because the human behavior is going to be more powerful than what a spam filter thinks of what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, Yanna-Torry.
It
Again,
was absolutely great.
as
Anytime.
always. And for everyone who didn't get to see it live, you can look it up later in our YouTube channel. You can contact Yanna-Torry directly, ask about deliverability. I think there is no one else who knows better about this besides the engineers at Gmail.
Hopefully.
Let's move on to Ben.